Welcome back, everybody. As I have come off of a 1 week break for the Let's Run podcast after the birth of my child, we have an awesome night tonight as UNLV men's basketball and UNLV football will be playing at the same time. Let's briefly talk about both of these matchups and get you ready for the games. This is the Let's Run podcast. Folks, welcome to the show today. Grateful to have you. While you are here, please do like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, give me a follow on Twitter. I appreciate all of you checking it out. Obviously, the pregame shows, I do these just so people have something to listen to heading into the game. Normally for football, I like to do them right before the game when it's a road game. But tonight we are driving out to the Thomas and Mack Center to watch our Runnin' Rebels play a feisty UT Chattanooga team. I wanted to talk about each game individually. I think we're going to do football first, and then Runnin' Rebel basketball second. So your UNLV football team is in Fort Collins. And while you're here, guys, please in the comment section in the live chat, let me know your score predictions for this Colorado State game, as it's a game that the Rebels have been, I've seen them favored as high as 8 in some places. I believe the line is down to, let me check. I'm not quite sure what the line is at right now. I believe it's down to 4.5 now. So it's actually gone down a little bit. Mike Cooper, one of my favorite people. Good to see you, Mike. Appreciate you jumping on. Says Colorado State 45, UNLV 38. Whoa, man. I will say that this is certainly a big moment for the UNLV football team. The last 2 games we have played at Boise State. Tough game. Now, Boise State, I think, is a little more vulnerable than we showed them to be, and we just kind of weren't good enough to go up there and win that game. But ultimately, this game, if UNLV football loses this game, the wheels for the season, against a Colorado State team that did blow Fresno State out at home. If UNLV loses this game, the wheels on the football season and for Dan Mullen's first year could really start coming off. That home loss to New Mexico was incredibly frustrating. The Fire Paul Gunther bandwagon that I am on is not a bandwagon, even into the offseason, that is going to win. Paul Gunther, I don't think he's going to be the defensive coordinator next season, but I think certainly, and let me flip this around. I think certainly Paul Gunther will remain on the football staff. And so what are we looking at here? If UNLV football loses this game, it would be 3 straight losses. Like Mike Cooper says, trying to avoid losing 3 straight since Marcus Arroyo's last season in 2022, which that season started out very promising. UNLV was 4-1 and quickly fell off the rails. And so this is kind of a danger point. This is kind of an inflection point type game. Bring 156 says 38-35 UNLV. I haven't given my score prediction for this game yet. I haven't been as around covering the team as much this week. I've just been kind of tweeting a little bit, and I've been kind of very Runnin' Rebel focused this week just because I went to that game on Tuesday night. And obviously I've been a little distracted with the birth of my child. But I feel pretty confident in UNLV's ability to win this game in Fort Collins. This Colorado State team is a team that has struggled to score. Very recently lost 28-0 to the Wyoming Cowboys up in Laramie. And, this is kind of a tough spot for UNLV because oftentimes when teams, especially at home, have fired their coach and have an interim coach, you get an interim boost. Now, that obviously didn't happen when the Rams went up and played the Cowboys up in Laramie. But this UNLV team is a team that has given up points and yards, especially, to everyone. And so a Colorado State offense that has struggled to score and has struggled to consistently pick up those kind of chunk yard plays definitely is going to be in a position to go up against a defense that is going to give them lots of room to move around the field. And you very well could see a Colorado State team that has struggled to score all year do something similar to what happened to when Colorado State beat Fresno State. Colorado State, if you don't remember, and Fresno State just went on the road and destroyed Boise State. Now, Boise State did lose their quarterback, of course, so that has to go into context. But this Colorado State team, I mean, it still has talent, regardless of the fact that they struggle, that it's not a very good program. They beat Fresno State 49-21, and that's what you kind of worry about as a UNLV football fan. So, what are my big keys to the game? Other than Boise, I think it's the first time I've picked them to lose all season. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pick UNLV to win this game, but I totally get where you're coming from, Mike. I totally get where you're coming from. And so, what are my keys to this game? Well, the first key is to reestablish the run game. I've heard a lot of people talk about this, and I totally agree with this point. Jett Thomas has had under 70 yards the last 2 weeks. I think he's had 60, or he had like a 50-yard week and then like a 39-yard week. And obviously against Boise, some of the running numbers were a little inflated in the second half. I heard Matt Neverett and Steve Cofield talking about this, and I totally agree. Kind of when the game was a little bit out of hand, Jalen Glover got a ton of yards late in that Boise State game on the road. And so I want to see this team get back to its running identity. Up until that New Mexico game, UNLV was a top 20 rushing offense in America. And yet in that New Mexico game, they limited us to, I think it was like 65 yards. And the key number one to this game is to reestablish yourself as a running team. Why will that be helpful? Well, it will help UNLV control possession. It's not, Mike and I had an interesting talk about this earlier on in the season, and it's not as much the time that you have possession, but the rhythm of the game. By running the football, you establish a positive rhythm for your game that will lead you to have more cohesive offensive and defensive strategies. And while I totally think that Anthony Colandrea, who hopefully is not dealing with the flu this week, I don't think he is. While as much as I would love to see Anthony Colandrea, throw it for 370 yards and then run for another 50 or 60 or 80 or whatever, I want to see this kind of be a ball dominant, running the football attack. And Jett Thomas, I worry a little bit about what his fate is going to be at the end of this season. I don't think that this season has gone quite as well as he would have liked. I love Jett. I think he's a great player. Finzik says, still don't know how to feel about this team. I think that New Mexico game said a lot about this team. They're good. This team has a lot of talent. They're a very good team, but they're not great. And if they were, honestly, they're just a good team. I wouldn't even say they're a very good team. A good team would not have lost that New Mexico game. Even though New Mexico is a decent team this season and very well coached by Jason Eck, that New Mexico game was very revealing. And in this position, this Colorado State game for the program is a must win. We cannot have this season end in a 7-5 type, skid. We need to win this game. Absolutely, full stop. No questions asked. This game needs to be a W in the win column. And so it starts with running the ball and reestablishing your identity as a rushing attack, not relying on Anthony Colandrea to run for 110 yards and scramble, but to establish, whether it be through, kind of a spread offense, running to the outside, running up the middle, delayed handoffs, RPO, whatever it takes, this team needs to reestablish its running game. And so I want to see Jett Thomas have one of those 150-yard games. I want to see Jett get 20 carries. I want to see Jalen, and I want to see us run the ball 30 to 40 times. Get 10 for Jalen Glover and maybe another 10 for Kevon Lee, or split that up how you want. But I want to see this team run the ball like 35, 40 times. And I want to see them control the game, control the rhythm of the game, control possession, control when Colorado State has the ball. And do not give Colorado State. I want to see this UNLV team win by double digits. I really do. And I think they can. But that's only going to happen if they control the game. Play number 2. I want to see how many explosive plays this defense gives up. Now, look, they're going to give up explosive plays. They're going to give up explosive plays. But I want to see it just be a slight bit better than that New Mexico game. This Colorado State offense, now that New Mexico offense wasn't great. They were not a great passing attack, and yet they passed for like 400 yards on the UNLV defense. I just want to see better communication, especially in the backfield. I want to see our corners, our DBs, I want to see our safeties just communicate better. Now, what is that going to look like? pre-snap against New Mexico, the teams, the guys were just jittery. They seemed to be kind of scared, like they didn't quite know what they were doing. And I'm hoping that this week they have been able to, even if they're still going to make mistakes, even if they're still going to be blown coverages, I just want to see them play more confidently. Because it felt like after that 21-0 New Mexico run, the defense lost a lot of their confidence. And so I just want to see confident communication between the players in the backfield, in the defensive side of the backfield. You know what I mean? And so kind of those are my two biggest keys. And I think the Rebels can win this game by double digits. I really do. And so, Mike, I'm going to go kind of against you here. I'm going to say the Rebels have their most complete game of the season. I'm going to say the Rebels win this game 34-24, and that the score is going to actually be a little deceiving because UNLV, it'll kind of be like a garbage time touchdown for Colorado State. I think this is the time. I think that the Rebels are going to come together and win this game and be confident. And so I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what happens. I will talk to you guys post game about the football game and the basketball game. But let's talk about basketball. I hope you guys are okay with me jumping to basketball now. I got to get down to the Thomas and Mack pretty soon, so I don't have as much time on this pregame as I would like. Let me make sure that I'm not missing the comments. We got Daryl here. UNLV football should win tonight. The basketball team is a mystery, especially after losing to UT Martin. Can't blame you for that. Blurt, I think you're going to be at the game tonight. Or I don't know. I wasn't sure, but I'm excited to get down there to the Thomas and Mack, and Dubs in the chat. Absolutely. We need a 2 for 2 night, guys. 2 for 2. That's the goal. I don't care how you win. Obviously, I'd like both teams to win, but I just need both teams to win. The defense needs to be sound tonight. No more looking confused in coverage. I couldn't agree. Tavon's on his way to the Mac. Me too, in just a minute. Steven's jumping in the chat. Good to see you, Steven. Appreciate you, man. You're awesome. The basketball team is going to have to beat Memphis and Alabama to make up for that loss to UT Martin. I'll talk about that in just a sec, how we can make up whatever that means for this loss to UT Martin. Steven, I sure hope so. I think they need to win this one by a decent margin. Ken Palm has UNLV winning to 82-79. Yeah, I'll pull up Ken Palm so we can pregame it. 2 for 2 would be great. Let's talk about, let me make sure I'm not missing comments. Oh, we had one from DPB. Stop the passes behind the line of scrimmage. That starts us at 2nd and 13. Yeah, be a little bit more aggressive with your play calling tonight, especially if Anthony Calandria is feeling a bit better. I wouldn't be afraid to kind of open up the playbook. So let's talk about basketball. There's a rumor flying around. We were not expecting one Isaac Williamson, our freshman phenom point guard, who I really do think will capture the imaginations. I don't know about this game, but Isaac Williamson, I really do think will capture the imaginations of this UNLV team, as we have more than likely now. Look, I can't say this definitively, but I would guess that it's going this way. I think Miles Che, who is going to be our starting point guard and maybe our most important offensive player, I think he's out for the year. Teams deal with injuries, and it really sucks for the Runnin' Rebels, but it's kind of next man up mentality. And Williamson is a guy who came in, and I was wondering, because he was originally a New Mexico commit, and I was kind of wondering, why did he come to UNLV? New Mexico is a good program. And Williamson is a scoring freak. I mean, he's an awesome scorer. He's a good point guard. He's a little bit of a combo guard, but not as much as a guy like Dre. And he's, I think, alongside Dre, is going to step into that point guard role. We're going to have 2 point guards, Dre and Isaac, and guys like Kamani are going to have more ball handling responsibilities. And we're just going to have to make up for this UNLV, this rash of injuries that has struck the Runnin' Rebels the best that we can. So like Mike said, Ken Palm has this game as an 82-79 victory for UNLV. Chattanooga is a team that they played last night. They got blown out by St. Mary's. So it's actually Chattanooga coming off of a back-to-back. This is the second night of a back-to-back for this Chattanooga team. And that is very interesting. I mean, you worry about legs for them. And I think that this is a golden opportunity for this UNLV Runnin' Rebel basketball team to kind of wash out that rotten taste out of their mouth after that really unfortunate and quite embarrassing loss on our home court on opening night. The crowd is not going to be good tonight. It's going to be a decent. I'm hoping people come out to the Thomas and Mack, because there's not a lot else going on tonight. And obviously, UNLV football is playing in a different state. And so I'm kind of hoping people come out to the Thomas and Mack tonight and really get behind the guys. For me, that UT Martin game look, I'm not going to this UNLV basketball team is going to have a bad record out of the non-conference. So our schedule is a little too difficult, but ultimately, that UT Martin game was kind of Josh's mulligan to me. It's a brand new team, brand new roster, brand new coaching staff. Clearly, there were some communication issues, and that UT Martin team, while they were bad, they made enough threes. And you saw Boise State lose to Hawaii Pacific. You saw GCU used to lose to Youngstown State last night. I mean, these games early on in the season happen. And I'll give you a mulligan. I'm not expecting this UNLV basketball team to compete for an at-large bid. I mean, KenPom has them at 129 right now. That is not an at-large type team. But what I am expecting UNLV basketball to do is to be good by the start of conference play, to be a good team by that point. And I think they really can do that. I'm excited to see how this game plays out tonight. The Chattanooga offense, they've only played 2 games so far. They have them at 85 right now. A lot of these KenPom stats, because there's so few games right now, are kind of misleading. I mean, they have the UNLV defense is 163 in the country. They have the UNLV offense is 119, which is pretty average on both sides of the ball. UNLV shot, I think, 35% from three, 30% from three in that game versus UT Martin. Their 2-point percentage was pretty good. But let me give you some keys to the game. I think the Rebels are going to win this game. And let me give you a couple of keys to victory. First, Kamani Hamilton cannot get in foul trouble. Now, the whole team can't get in foul trouble, but Kamani Hamilton especially. This was an issue that he ran into at High Point. He is the best player on the team. He's the most talented player on the team. I believe he is the highest paid player on the team. And he only had 14 minutes in that game against UT Martin. And if he can just stay out of foul trouble, he's going to be our best player. He's going to score a whole lot. And so key number 1 is just stay out of foul trouble, stay on the floor. I would agree. UNLV running Rebel Pundit. Appreciate you. That UT Martin team, they were not the most talented team, but they did have a lot of experience across the roster playing. They were a Serbian or whatever feeder team to an Eastern European national team. So they just made enough plays to win the game, and UNLV could have put them away and blown them out several times in that game and just let that UT Martin team kind of hang around. I expect this to be a much better performance for the Runnin' Rebels. Let me make sure I'm not missing any comments here. I'll be there. Come find me for a sunburst. Hey, red holographic sticker. Okay. I'll shoot you a message, Blair. I'll come shake your hand. I feel like there's going to be a dead atmosphere tonight, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is the situation that the administration has put on Josh. There is no support for UNLV men's, very little. I shouldn't say no, because look, people still care about UNLV men's basketball. They're just not going to come until they win. And it sucks for Josh, and we have to do the best that we can to make our home court environment the best possible environment that we can make it with the limited numbers that we have. But it's just going to take some time for Josh to build it in terms of fan trust. Even winning immediately is not going to bring people back to the Thomas and Mack. It's going to take sustained winning. They can make the tournament this year, and next year they will still not be great attendance-wise. They need to be good for 18 months before people really start to buy back in. I'm so sad about Che. Totally agree. Hot take, UNLV beats Bama. I know he lost to UT, but you cannot tell me these boys don't want to play for Pastner. Yeah, I mean, I thought that even in the UT Martin game, they weren't always playing smart, but they were playing hard. And so if guys are playing hard, you feel like there's still potential for them to kind of turn things around. Where am I sitting for the game? I'm in section 113, like 10 rows up. If anybody wants to come and shake my hand, I'll come meet you where you're sitting. You can come where I am, come shake my hand. I'm at every game at the Thomas and Mack. We played so sloppy. Pastner said yesterday their focus and the North Star right now is the Mountain West regular season and tourney. Yeah, I mean, Coach Pastner's been pretty clear. He thinks that this team is going to be better as the season goes along. There's going to be some tough matchups, like he said to Mike and a couple of other press members. But ultimately, they just need to try and be playing well by the time the Mountain West Conference games start. And I will give Pastner this kind of non-conference as a leash, even if he loses tonight, which I don't think he will, which I don't think this Runnin' Rebel team is going to lose tonight. They could, you never know. But I will give them a leash for this non-conference, but I want them playing well by the start of conference play. I care. Yeah, I care too. And so key number 1 is Kamani Hamilton staying out of foul trouble. Key number 2 is limiting the turnovers. Listen, I mean, that's every basketball team's key. Draven maybe Isaac Williamson. I'm hoping we see him tonight. We might not. I guess we'll see. I think he could play, and I think he will, but I'm just not sure. What I just want to see is these guys play under control. Now that they know that they're the point guards, they need to play within themselves. I want to see good decision making, and I want to see Coach Pastner simplify the offense at times. I know he's got all this cool stuff that he wants to run, but when you're without a true point guard, you're going to have some issues if you try and run things that are complicated for guys that aren't used to handling the ball like point guards. So I want to see Pastner kind of simplify the offense, just run a basic spread offense sometimes if you feel like your guys are struggling with the higher level concepts that you're trying to implement. Just run some zoom action, spread pick and roll, some back screens. I really like a lot of the ideas that I saw in that UT Martin game in terms of what Pastner was trying to get our offense to actually achieve. But I sometimes feel like it might be smart for this team to kind of dumb it down, spread the floor, let Draven attack, let Dre attack, let Kamani attack, get Kamani the ball in the high post, everybody kind of spread around, and then let Kamani attack from the free throw line at the rim. That's going to be a very effective offensive strategy. We don't need to overcomplicate things. When it comes to the zone that Coach Pastner is going to run, he's going to run that 1-3-1 zone. Do not help off the strong side corner. If a guy's driving to the basket, do not help one pass away. If the help's going to come from anywhere, guys are going to get past your primary defenders. If help's going to come from anywhere, let it come from the weak side. Let it come from the baseline. But do not help one pass away off of a three-point shooter because teams are too good at shooting nowadays. You cannot close driving lanes in a lazy fashion. You have to be smart. Don't flash too high. When you're stunting, stunt back to that corner immediately. What stunting means is oftentimes in a zone defense, you kind of flash towards an offensive player and then recover to another offensive player on the other team. When you're doing that, you have to be decisive or you're going to give up wide open shots. And it takes execution and it takes effort. And I know the effort's going to be there, but I want to see that execution there too. And be vertical in your contests. Do not foul because it seems like college referees are just blowing the whistle like crazy. So guys, those are kind of my keys to the game. I'm excited to talk to you all post game when there's going to be some really fun stuff. I'm hoping we're 2 for 2, guys. 2 for 2. That's what we're looking for tonight. And I think that the Runnin' Rebels can do it. And I think that the UNLV football team can do it. And I feel confident that the next time that I talk to you guys, there's some cheap beer. Not that I drink, but there's some cheap beer at the Thomas and Mack tonight. Hope you guys can all get there. So I'm going to get in the car. I'm heading down to the Thomas and Mack, the happiest place on earth, even though they lost to that stupid UT Martin team. The happiest place on earth. I'm going to go down there with you guys. I'm excited to be at the game. I'm excited. I'm just ecstatic right now because we're going to get that rotten UT Martin, that rotten New Mexico game out of our mouth. We're going to win these games tonight. And as fans, we're going to show up. We're going to be loud. We're going to be proud as best as we can. And so, guys, I'll talk to you at the game. I'll see you at the game. Let's run.